Mr. President, in response to your question, you referred to the topic of war, and you mentioned that you have granted us the right to pursue war through diplomacy. Indeed, in the context of peaceful resolution, we would like to ask you, who do you see at the negotiation table, aside from the two countries involved, and what role do you envision for Turkey in this process, considering that certain negotiations took place in Istanbul at the beginning of the war, with some results achieved? So, my question is the following. Who did you see at the negotiation table, what participants, and what role does Turkey play in this process?
Russia attacked Ukraine, and we had no choice but to take up arms and defend ourselves. There was no diplomacy because Russia attacked Ukraine at night, and Ukrainians took up arms and began to defend their country without the help of any nation in the world. That is how it was. No one helped Ukraine at that moment. Then, when everyone saw that Putin would not be able to seize our country, that our people and our military were standing strong, that the president of Ukraine did not flee, everyone realized that Ukraine needed help. And only then did various countries start offering assistance, in varying amounts. At that point, Russia set an ultimatum to reduce the size of Ukraine's armed forces and to recognize the occupied territories of Ukraine as Russian. They wanted to establish a pro-Russian leadership so that it would be completely in Putin's vertical. And I have the impression that negotiations are still taking place with the same mindset. But now they are between representatives of Russia and the United States. About Ukraine, again about Ukraine, and without Ukraine. It's interesting, if we didn't yield to these ultimatums at the most difficult moment, why should we think that now Ukraine will? As for Turkey, after the ultimatum, Russia made the same ultimatum in Belarus during a meeting, and the same ultimatum was made in Turkey after Belarus. We understand that we had no agreements with the Russians during the occupation of Kiev, no agreements with the Russians during the meeting in Belarus, no agreements with the Russians during the meeting in Turkey. As the president of Ukraine, I did not guarantee anything to anyone, nor did I confirm anything to anyone. Moreover, I did not and do not intend to yield to Russia's ultimatums. You asked about today's possible diplomatic resolutions and who we see at the negotiation table. We see those who are capable of providing security guarantees for Ukraine. We saw the United States, the European Union, plus other parts of Europe that are not in the EU. This also applies to Turkey. We are not opposed if Turkey is willing to provide Ukraine with security guarantees. I will discuss this with President Erdogan today.
European leaders met in Paris. The meeting ended without concrete results. What results would you have wanted from this meeting?
President Macron informed me that he wants to hold a series of meetings. And at the end of these meetings, he will come to me with certain proposals. Undoubtedly, this concerns part of the security guarantees, the part that European leaders can offer Ukraine. This includes finances, primarily supporting our budget, money and weapons to support our army, and a positive or negative decision regarding the deployment of a contingent in Ukraine, including their contingent, but we expect a positive decision there. The question is which countries are willing to do this. At the end of all these meetings, Emmanuel will tell me how they see this. Thank you very much to all of you. Goodbye.